All right, man. So, why am I doing this video? Because unfortunately, last week, JR has been accused for racism. And listen, I don't know none of this stuff. But all I know is that Wrestling in Color podcast knows more than I do. So, let's just figure out what's going on with Devon, because I see he's on the, thumbnail. And I don't know why Tony Khan is on here, but let's just figure out what's going on. Because like I said, I mean, there's just so much going on with WWE. But it seems to me like Devon is taking shots at AEW because, unfortunately, AEW is in competition with WWE, even though WWE is basically in competition with them because they're obviously jealous of the product that they're putting out recently and for the past like 6, 7 years. So I don't know if Devon's taking shots at JR and Tony just to put him down, or maybe he's just telling his experience. But let's figure out what's going on in this video. Let's go ahead and get started. Also, if you want to subscribe to our channel, here's a screenshot right here. So, again, let's get started with the product.
Hey, cousins. I know you could kind of hear a different cadence in my voice because it's usually hot, sexy, and sultry. But your girl's coming off of catching a cold. And, it whooped my ass last night. Hence why there was nothing posted. And so on my PTO day, I said, let me go ahead and give the cousins something they could chew on because tomorrow is the usual not really review. Amongst other things, I'm trying to take out spooky season on a high note. Whoop de whoop de whoop. So if I'm a little foggier than usual, charge it to my head, not to my heart. See, you heard that pause? That's that foggy shit. So it ain't gonna be too much shenanigans, especially with this. So Devon Dudley claims Ku Klux Klan invaded wrestling and confirms retirement. In recent interview with Video Gamer, Devon Dudley claims the KKK invaded wrestling. He said, and I quote, I've said this before and I say it again. The Klan wore sheets on their heads. The KKK wore sheets over their heads. And I felt that a lot of those Klan members made their way into wrestling, traded in their sheets for suits. It was definitely a behind the scenes thing. I dealt with it, certainly higher ups like MVP said. He went on to say, I dealt with that certain higher up that told me to my face they don't like me because of the color of my skin. And they work for other organizations now. And this person knows who he is. I have no respect. No, excuse me. I have no respect for that person. I don't really care for him. Now that he's not in the position that he once was, I really don't care for him. Devon went on to say, I was looking to become a producer. I was looking to become a wrestler. And the only reason why my agent even contacted them was because of the fact that I left WWE and wanted to still do the agent role. But my sons were there at the time, and I was going to try to do anything I could to help my sons out. I expressed to Tony that I didn't want to wrestle. He kept pushing it. He would have loved me to go out there and do a couple things, maybe be a manager, maybe do a 6-man. And I told him, I said, if I do a 6-man, let me know now. I'll be on the apron and the boys are going to do all the work. I told him I don't want to wrestle anymore, and he wasn't taking no for an answer. He couldn't get that through his head. He was like stringing me along, even though I kept telling him I don't want to wrestle. To say I basically kept emphasizing that I wanted to be a producer. I did not want to wrestle. I wanted to work behind the scenes. And he kept asking me if I wanted to wrestle and get back in the ring. And I'm like, dude, you're not getting what I'm saying. I don't want to wrestle. I just want to be a producer. I want to help my sons. I want to get them where they are like Billy Gunn with his sons. I've done everything in my career. I don't need that. He just wasn't taking no for an answer. I've had 3 meetings with him and all 3 were a bust. Devon went on to say he isn't a fan of AEW as a whole, and he would never have his final match there. He said, I would not have done it for AEW because I just don't think AEW was ever a fit for the Dudleys. For other people, probably yes, but for me, not the Dudleys. I don't know if I felt comfortable. There was just certain things about the organization. I love the talent. I think the talent's great. There's no question about that. But there's a feeling that certain people in the organization that call the shots, I'm not a fan of them. And Tony Khan lets that happen. So, Devon went on to say, I don't think I ever would have been able to take place in AEW, my retirement match. I've got nothing against AEW as a company. I've got nothing against Tony Khan. I just don't like the way the organization is run, and that's about it. Again, I got friends over there, and it's a good time. Devon also confirmed that the Dudleys and the Hardys was going to do their thug thizzle, whoop the whoop the whoop.
Now, look, I understand his experience in AEW, and I hate that he went through that. But one thing I wanted to understand was, if that was the case, why not just stay in TNA? Because you remember these pictures back when, the boys was trying out in TNA. I just was wondering, maybe why the boys couldn't just stay in TNA or go to NXT. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't really have to go to AEW. I mean, as much as we would like for them to go to AEW, if things ain't working out behind the scenes, then maybe it's best for them to just stay with their father and go wherever he, goes. And if TNA and NXT is the right call, then go there. So, I hate that he went through that, but I don't know what year when that happened, but whatever that year was presented to him or what he experienced, then the good thing is, the organization is not what it was when you first, experienced it. I do believe that AEW is structured, and I do believe that AEW is well organized. I mean, is it perfect? No. Does it need some work? Yes, it does. But is everybody getting treated equally? Based off what I see on television, yes. Of course, there's some people that are missing and that needs to be back on television, like Brad Breaker and Thunder Rosa. But other than that, AEW don't got no issues like WWE do. And it's mainly because WWE is more focused on money. And what else? And and AEW is more focused on the product. But let's just say this is true, right? Based off of what Devon experienced. What's wrong with Devon producing his sons? What's wrong with him directing his sons, guiding his sons? And by producing, I mean guidance. Like working behind the scenes. What's wrong with that? Well, that's what happens when you're in a company full of white men and there's no black people involved. So, obviously, it's not equal for everybody. But when you got people like Swerve Strickland, the Hurt Syndicate, and Ricochet, you can't really sit here and say that AEW has the same issues as WWE when it comes to racism, because Mercedes Moné, Red Velvet, and Athena are champions. Long-term champions. And the cool thing about that is that it makes black women want to watch AEW. Even though Wrestling in Color podcast doesn't really draw into AEW, that doesn't mean that others don't do the same. But when you look at the audience, you don't really see a lot of black women. You see mostly white women, right? Or Latina, you know what I mean? Like, brown-skinned women, you know what I mean? And you just kind of hope that black women will watch AEW to where they can look at that screen and say, hey, I could be the next Mercedes Moné. Hey, I could be the next Athena. I could be the next Red Velvet. Even though Red Velvet is in Ring of Honor, that doesn't mean she can't come to Dynamite and or Collision to showcase herself. But you also got to think about Jade Cargill when she was in AEW. Black women look up to her. Like I said, everybody don't have that same, have the same equality as everyone else. I mean, of course, some people will say Queen Emanata might be in a jobber position, but that's not the case. She's being featured on television more. She's wrestling more. And I do have hope that she'll go after the TBS title, against Mercedes, or maybe not Mercedes, maybe some new champion. And honestly, I'm still waiting for her to go after, the Ring of Honor title. But if that's not the case, then okay, but at least she got a title, and it's from the Indies. Now, some of y'all will say that doesn't count. But the fact that she got a belt and she's able to go to the Indies, that's what's cool about AEW, is that you're allowed to work at the Indies. So just like TNA. So if anything, at least AEW gives people options where you don't have to wrestle in the AEW ring. You can wrestle outside of the ring. And that's what's great about AEW, is that they allow people to go outside of their company to go wrestle in different companies. You just can't wrestle for WWE, but you can wrestle for other places. And that's what's cool about it. So there is some flexibility with AEW, but with WWE, you have to be chosen. Like, if you're in Natalya's shoes, you can wrestle outside. You just got to ask for permission. Like, I just saw Io Sky, wrestle outside of the company, and I'm wondering who's behind that, her agent or whoever. So, I even saw, Carmen wrestle outside of, the company, and I don't even know what's the name of the wrestling promotion. But I know Jon Moxley was there. Isn't that strange that you have an NXT superstar and an AEW superstar in a company? But then again, Ludwig Kaiser was there. How did that happen? WWE, NXT, AEW, and one brand. I mean, hey, that's something, right? I don't have any photos, but it's based off what I witnessed on Instagram and Twitter. So there is some diversity in AEW, and that's why people look up to AEW, because there's diversity. But in WWE, there's no diversity. If you look at all the champions, they're all white, and there are only two Mexicans that are, that got belts, and that's Stephanie Vaquer, and then you have Dominic Mysterio. I know some of y'all would say Stephanie is not Mexican, but, if she's speaking Spanish, then that's Mexican to me. So, but again, we still don't have no black champions, and we still don't have no brown champions, unless you got two. Of course, we got two, but still, I don't see what people see when it comes to AEW. And that doesn't make me a glazer. It's not me being a glazer. It's just, the things that are what AEW is doing right now, to me, is going to benefit their company in the near future. Because people did not like the things that AEW was doing back in the day, but they loved the product. They just didn't like the BS that was going on behind the scenes. But again, at least right now, there's some flexibility. And some will say that's not true. But if you don't watch the product and you don't study the product and you don't watch interviews and do your research, of course, you're gonna deny it, because you're not even doing your own amount of homework to do it. Where, what I'm saying? If you're going to talk about something, you have to do your research, and you also have to watch the product. And if you don't watch the product, then you can't really tell others what to do when it comes to AEW, because you never watch the product. It's the same thing for WWE. You can't talk about WWE if you never go back and do your history on the booking and the management and all that. Like, don't get me wrong. Some people are tuned in, but they're only tuned in because of Netflix and ESPN. They're not tuned in because of the history. We've been doing our homework since we were kids. I got into it in 07. Everybody else had got to catch up. But by the time they catch up, the company is going to be long gone. To the point where you're going to have to go back and watch reruns. And you will hope that TNA and AAA don't shut down, but if they don't got nobody that's going to sponsor them, what can they do? They don't got the money. So it's a bad thing for all three. But at least with AEW, they can do their own thing. And they got a billionaire as their boss. So he good as long as he doing other things to make sure everybody eat. And right now, everybody eating. We just got to wait for, the other stuff that comes with it. But I do appreciate what Tony Khan is doing. But I just wish things would have worked out with Devon and his sons. But if I was him, I would just have his sons, wrestle in TNA or, NXT, and just hope that the company don't do them wrong because they're dark skinned. But again, things change. People change. The world changes and some people just can't see it. But I'm sorry that Devon had to go through that if it's true. But the only reason why I say it's allegedly is because I don't know. But hopefully Devon found peace. Hopefully his boys find a place where they can wrestle. And hopefully they all, are in. Hopefully everything is in play to where, they can go to a wrestling promotion where they can stay and consider home. So, and that's all I can say for that. But let's get back to the video.
Now, JR, good old JR, who called some of the best matches, did some of the best commentary. For most of us, is the sound of our childhood when it comes to the WWE. The Oklahoma Sooner with the 10-gallon hat on is a racist. Who would have guessed? Who'd have thunk it? Who knew? Well, it has been confirmed, okay? Devon confirmed that it was JR. How was it confirmed? He said, listen, did I come out and say 10-gallon hat? Yes. Did Maven let the cat out the bag? Yes. Was it JR? Yes. I did have a problem with JR back then. I didn't know why. I'm not angry at the man today. I know he's dealing with health issues. And to show you where I'm at in my life now, I pray that God heals his body. But I was disappointed when he said that. And he said it to me back then. And yes, I was. I don't wish the man no harm or illness. I was very hurt, very bothered by what he said on two separate occasions. And just like I've said about Hogan, I don't ask anyone to forget, but you do have to forgive. And I've forgiven him in my heart. I haven't talked to him and I haven't seen him. I don't say anything when I do see him because he's never come to apologize. He might just say he doesn't remember, and that's fine. So, let's have the conversation. This sounds like a Sunday conversation, but it's a Thursday conversation. JR gets a pass because, again, he made a lot of us wrestling fans in the 90s, 2000s feel good until he couldn't do it no more. Okay? Somebody made a very good point that this isn't the first time that JR was brought to the table. R-Truth said out his mouth that JR told him straight up he's not putting the heavyweight title on a black male wrestler. And R-Truth was like, well, I didn't take it as racism. I just took it as being honest. And considering there's only been 6 who fit the description, one of whom is The Rock, we could put an asterisk. He probably was right. Every other black champ besides The Rock has held it only 1 to 2 times.
That's the best thing I can remember. Jim Ross was like a John Wayne to me, man. Jim Ross, and Bruce Pritchard were the only two guys in this sport that ever told me that wrestling is still a white man's sport.
Really?
Yes.
Well, how did they even bring that up in conversation to you?
Well, Jim brought up in conversation when I was going to sign a developmental contract with him, and it was like, well, you know, wrestling still is pretty much a white man's sport, you know. But like with any great team, you know, if you got a basketball team with all white guys, you got a Michael Jordan on the team, you know, Michael Jordan's going to stand out. So we want you to be out Michael Jordan in WWF. Ah, shit. You cooking that up real good, Jim. Yeah, I like that. Let me be Michael Jordan then.
Well, why do you think he even brought that up to you, that kind of scenario?
Probably racist is here. You go to Jim Ross's office, there's nothing but John Wayne everywhere. The hat, the life-size fucking poster, the life-size stand-up dummy, the awards John Wayne's gotten. He's Jim Ross is John Wayne to the bone.
Yeah.
The problem that got like to do with is racism. Bruce Pritchard brought it up to me in Memphis when I was in developmental, and he was letting me know that they was gonna put me with Road Dogg, but you know I can't get in as much trouble as Road Dogg get in because wrestling still just saying predominantly white. Why he brought it up, I don't know.
You mean outside the ring trouble? When they did?
Yeah, outside the ring trouble.
Yeah, that's how.
I mean, I didn't give a damn. Y'all pay me some money. I don't care about I never been racist. Don't care about the racist shit. Say what you want to say. We want in out there.
Yeah.
But Road Dogg got pissed. Road Dogg cussed him out for it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did what was your reaction when like you're sitting in Jim Ross's office and he says something like that to you?
My honest reaction is like it's weird to see like somebody that's working for a company that's made such like head waves and fucking elevated wrestling and sports entertainment to its speed, to have somebody in that corporation to speak like that. I never would have thought of wrestling had racism or prejudice in it until I heard that.
Yeah. Did you find any other, I guess you didn't really come across that much other racism up until that point?
None but Jim Ross and Bruce Pritchard.
Really?
Nothing after that.
Okay, nothing from the...
Weird to see like somebody that's working for a company that's made such like head waves. It ain't fucking funny. You're a black man in a man's sport. You're a man in a man's sport. And he said, let me call you back. I said, whoa, what you finna do? He said, I'm finna call Bruce and cuss him the fuck out. I said, no. I said, that's our boss. I said, don't do that.
So he's talking about Road Dogg, you know, defending him. I'm not patting Road Dogg on the back. So y'all, we can forget that. Because Road Dogg, this is the thing. Every 5 steps forward, they take 25 steps back. So he participated in a bunch of bullshit that he shouldn't have been participating in, but he on the back end defending his friend. And this is the problem with a lot of these conversations. Oh, you a good black. You ain't like them other blacks. That was R-Truth, by the way. I'm sure everybody recognized that he was a young man trying to do the best he could with what he had. Y'all go get these, you know, out the jail, everybody's struggling and shit, and then you come hit them with this bullshit. I'm not even shocked by what Devon said. I'm not shocked at all. My thing is, I'm tired of people telling me and other wrestling fans, black wrestling fans, to get over some shit. I'm tired of the gaslighting. And so, like I said in the last conversation, our Sunday conversation about the N-word usage and how to get over and all this other shit from the Kevin Owens stuff, I'm just going to chalk you up as a racist. That's it. Because if I sit here and I try to rationalize and try to figure out what the fuck is going on, I'm not even about to do it no more. You racist. You can sit across someone who you can see R-Truth actually respected this dude. Just like everybody. We all, I would say, respect JR. Even put him, if you had a commentator's fucking Mount Rushmore, JR would be up there. And to know this man is so fucking racist. But you know what? I should have known. Old school cowboy hat, elderly from Oklahoma. What else? Bruce Pritchard. It's not saying, oh, it's a white man's sport. You didn't have to say it. And what's fucked up is this is a sport, not even a sport. Fuck all that. This is a scripted situation. If you want them, you write them in. When Paul Levinsky walked up to Jay and said, I'm going to put you over, I'm going to put you over. There's no reason why R-Truth couldn't represent this company. And we're going to talk about Ron Killings. We're going to talk about Ron Killings in a retrospect, so look out for that. There's no reason why Kofi Kingston couldn't get a second round at that title. It's disheartening, it's disgusting, it's tiresome. It is. And I mean, honestly, there's not too much else to say. It really, really sucks. It sucks. It sucks as a black wrestling fan to have to hear stuff like this. And the only reason why people like, oh, well, you know, it's because he got Bell's palsy, his wife passed, and that cancer eating his ass up. I'm not giving no passes. I'm not. I'm tired. I'm tired of it. I just want to enjoy some shit without being bombarded and inundated with racist undertones and whatever else you got packed up in your ass. If it ain't coming from the White House, if it ain't coming from the public and society, it got to come from the one thing that we all said we enjoyed: pro wrestling. Saying, well, you know, it was that time. I'm tired. You racist. Congratulations. Now I know I'm going to move accordingly. That's it. I'm not even about to sit here and be shocked. I'm not going to be floored. I'm not going to, go on and on about it. I'm going to bring you the news. It's JR. Good old JR. And you know how I know he was right about the KKK being all up and through shit? Look at this goddamn WWE now. Look at it. Bold. Deep. So when I say those allegations ain't coming up off that motherfucker, oh, the Air Max will remain in the pressed position.
Damn. Look, I don't know JR personally. I never met the man in my whole life. I just found out that his wife died today. Rest in peace, Jen Ross. She died in 2017. That was back when I was in college. So, man, look, I understand, everybody has their experience. And like I said, that was Devon's experience. That was R-Truth's experience. Then, I'm sorry that they had to go through that, you don't wish that on nobody, you know what I mean? Including myself. I went through a lot with racism, and trust me, I know I have a lot of stories, but most of it was from women. But Lord have mercy. Discrimination is a motherfucker, man. Ain't that? Ain't the truth of that? But we have to keep it real, though. Like, we have to keep it 100. We have to keep it all the way of being. If those things that JR said to R-Truth and Devon Dudley was true, then who are we to say that he's wrong? Unfortunately, we see it in front of our own eyes. We see it in front of our own eyes. We see it. All the male wrestlers, all the female wrestlers are all white. And those that are not white, if they don't look black or look brown, they look white, and that's the reason why they look the part, and that's the reason why they got the belt. Dominic Mysterio looked like a white boy. Stephanie Valkyria looked like a white girl. And that's the reason why they got the belts. You just hope that others can get the belts as well, but the way things are looking, I mean, when Sol Ruka was champion, double champion, there's a reason for that, because she mixed. Ricky Saints is champion. Some people say he's mixed. I'll believe it. Jada Parker's mixed. She ain't getting none. Kalani Jordan's mixed. She got a TNA belt. So, again, Some things just don't make sense. I mean, sometimes I look at Jordan Grace and I wonder, is it because she's married to a black man and that's the reason why she's not in the main roster? You just got to ask these questions, man. Because, again, I mean, JR is not wrong. I mean, I'd rather have a racist tell me what it is than to have a racist keep it behind the scenes and then you can't prove your case when it comes to certain things that come in, that will come to you, I'm just trying to see why is it so difficult for people to comprehend what JR is saying when we're seeing it in front of our own eyes. WWE is showing us that racism is right in front of us. Bianca Belair has no date for her return, but Liv Morgan has one. Isn't that strange that Liv Morgan has a date, but Bianca Belair don't? And Jade Cargill is supposed to win today, but isn't it strange? Because that Jade Cargill gets a belt when we know deep inside they really don't want to give that belt to Jade Cargill. When you have other black males that haven't got a chance to win a belt. Carmelo Hayes didn't win nothing. Trick Williams won't come to the main roster and win nothing. Same with Obafemi. Javon Evans haven't won a belt. I know he got time, but still, where's the belt? Why can we put the belt on Javon? You don't think he's ready for the NXT title? You don't think he's ready for the North American title? Is that it? You don't think he's ready for the Speed title? You don't think I know he's not ready for the U.S. title, but still. He had an opportunity to go after it, though. That build his profile up. And to the point where people want to call him back to SmackDown. But we haven't seen him in 2 weeks. So we haven't even seen Saraya, even though Saruka's injured, we haven't even seen Saraya come back in SmackDown. But Jordan Grace can't come to SmackDown and she's white? Oh, wait, that's right. It's the husband, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, some things don't make sense. But you can't sit here and say JR is lying because you see it in front of your face. That he's right. This is a white man's sport. And that's why you never see anybody black winning anything. I can't see Bianca Belair winning anything. Maybe that's the reason why she hasn't been returned. She don't have a date because who else cares about her at this point? When people care about Liv Morgan more, which is fucked up. Nobody should be caring about that lemon-head motherfucker. But because of the storyline with the Judgment Day, that's the reason why people want her back so bad. Versus with Bianca, she don't have a storyline except with Jade and Naomi. And that's the thing. What do we have for Bianca? You don't know, bro. You really don't know. You don't even know if she's coming back in the Royal Rumble. You probably won't see her till Elimination Chamber. Ain't that sad? But, and honestly, I don't even think the injury that Bianca has is that bad. I think they just don't have no plans for her. Or maybe they're just saying that just to stun us all. But it's like, who's really checking on Bianca? That's the sad part about it. But there are people that are talking about it, and unfortunately, it's mostly us. I just wish people cared about Bianca I wish people would care about Bianca more than they care about Liv, but nobody cares. And that's the fucked up part about it. But I'm going to have to agree with JR. Brutally honest, I'm going to have to agree with JR if that's true what he said. This is a white man's sport, and as long as the white man's still running these companies, no black man will be winning any world titles. Unless you're in AEW. And that's just for a fact. At least TNA got some black stars winning something, but are they winning the world title? I don't know. We got a Mexican winning the world title. That his behavior, is considered black in some way. I think his name is Mike Santana. I think so. Of course, they had Moose as champion, but he ain't champion now. So there is some diversity for TNA, and of course AEW as well. But as of right now, it does look like there's no black men winning anything in AEW, but that doesn't mean they won't have one. There's still hope for Ricochet, and there's still hope for Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, maybe Swerve. But as for the Black Queens, they're good. They're good. They're good. Yeah, they're good. But TNA, well, you got Kalani Jordan, so there you go. Even though she's an NXT star. But WWE, listen, if Jade Cargill wins, there you go. But what will her title reign be? That's the question. So I'm going to have to agree with JR, even though you guys might not. Unfortunately, we're seeing it in front of our eyes, so we have to agree. Because we see it to this day. And there's no disrespect. It's just the truth. Brutally honest truth. And this is what we have to accept, until something changes and authority changes. This is what we got to deal with. And the champions that y'all seeing right now, this is what you got until it changes hands. So prayers go up to Devon and R-Truth. I think they're good, but it seems to me like Devon, had to come clean about it, and I don't know why, but if that can release his stress, then there you go. But as a Christian, I do agree with Devon. You got to walk in forgiveness, and even though JR was saying too much, at least the man is, at a place where he might find peace. Even though we don't want to see him gone, at least the man is starting to humble himself a little bit. Hasn't apologized, but that don't mean that he hasn't been forgiven through the grace of God. I still want to, pray for the man, for healing energy. I still want to send him healing energy based off of what he's going through right now with his sickness. But for everybody that doesn't like JR based off of his allegations, at least the man's not on TV, so you got what you want, right? So I'm just not going to shit on the man if he ever passed away like Hulk Hogan. I'm still going to give credit what credit is due. So, because we grew up to him. But I could pray for him, though. That's all you can do. And if you don't want to, you have that right. But as a Christian, I'm going to do it. Because I want this man to be forgiven based off of what he said. But we can't sit here and say the way he said is wrong because we're seeing it in front of our faces and with our own two eyes. So, yeah. So, that's all. I'm going to leave it at that. But y'all get in the comment box and let me know what you guys think, man. Based off of what you heard, do you think that JR is racist or do you think that he's not? Or because all I heard was the truth. Brutally honest truth. And if he's telling the truth, who are we to say he's wrong? When we're seeing it. So, y'all get in the comment box and let me know y'all thoughts down below. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share if you're new. And I'll catch y'all in the next video, all right? All right, I'm out.